Ian Khan in P1, and there were only a few more dramas on the way to the duo's third checkered flag of the year. And with their championship rivals Ruffier and Payrolls sidelined, their championship hopes are looking as strong as that for GT, although it is still pretty close at the top of the table. Now we come to a great circuit, built in 1960, extensively renovated only 2 years ago, but the classic layout has been preserved. 3.5 kilometres, 2 fast straights, and a complex of very technical corners at each end. And though the Ford GTs were second and third fastest in qualifying, it was Aston Martin that was quickest. Thomas Ackery on pole position again.
It's good to start first in this track because there is a short apex, and for the championship it's good too.
So the grid lining up on a warm, dry afternoon in the southwest of France. A 60-minute race ahead, compulsory pit stop and driver change with a prescribed window for a set 70-second pit lane duration here. Poleman Ackery in the Aston Martin, ready to go. It's a rolling start as always, so they leave the grid behind the pace car. 20 degrees track temperature, 14 degrees air temperature, sunny with a little bit of cloud, a dry afternoon as we say, and a 1 hour race in prospect. This is round 9 of the championship. The pace car's in the pit lane, the starter says go, and we're racing into turn 1 with Ackery holding his lead, and a 40 strong grid piling in behind him. On board in the number 9, Aston Martin. We're with Manuel Rodriguez in about 8th place there. Highest place Ferrari in qualifying. Number 13, not been Ferrari's year in this championship. Haven't seen a lot of them at the front of the grid. But unusually in this race, we have both our reigning GT3 champions taking part. Gilles Vanelay swaps his Viper for a Corvette, and I think that's him there in the yellow car. And further back, Henri Moser returns, and he's driving a Ferrari as always. Aerodrome straight, the big long one here, and heading towards the classic overtaking opportunity at Nogaro. Under brakes for turn 7. And we're with Rodriguez again, but there's lots of action around us as this pack still stays together. Very, very busy, and that's the Corvette of Martin Matschke. Loops it completely, recovers and drops a couple of places. About 10th place now as Ackery continues to lead this race. And that is the championship leader. That's the number 20 Ford, stuck on the gravel there. That was Ian Khan out of 10th place. We're looking at midfield battles as Matschke continues his recovery. That's Marguerite Lafitte recovering after a spin, and that's the Viper, the number 42 car there of Sabatini. So we assume contact between them as Ackery continues to lead, lapping slower cars. A pair of Ford GTs on his heels there, but they're the wrong ones. Ian Khan is now 2 laps down after getting going again, waiting for the pit stops. Between 23 minutes and 37 minutes of race time, that is the pit stop window, and you must spend a minimum of 70 seconds between pit in and pit out. And the early stoppers coming in. If you've got a fast driver in the car, leave him out there. If you've got a fast driver in the pit lane, get him in there. And as you saw, Ackery, the race leader, probably the quicker of the 2 drivers in that car. Pretty even with Pierre Brice-Mena, but he's staying out there for as long as possible. As Rodriguez here comes under a bit of pressure. Vanelay yet to stop and putting a lap on, or a position on, if you like, on the Rodriguez car. closes right up under the brakes through that slow corner there, and the Corvette not quite getting the power down as early as perhaps it has done earlier in the season. The Performance Balancing Bureau's been at work, and these cars now all pretty even. In comes Claudio Ricci in the number 5 Ferrari. He'll hand that over to Jose Manuel Balbiani. Ackery is still out there. The race leader hasn't come in. He's going to string this out as long as possible. Vanelay hands the 28 car over to Mark Sword. And here he comes. Finally, Pierre Bryce-Menard is waiting. Ackery out. This is the new race leader, Bradley Ellis. He has yet to stop and hand that car over to Mortimer. Oh, we're waiting to see what the positions will be when the race leaders are all back on track.
Thomas, you certainly got off to a great start. Are you happy with your first stint?
Yeah, it's a beautiful race because very hot in the car, difficult. I think I've made a good job. It's good for the championship, and we're gonna to see the finish line.
We'll see if that win comes their way. This is Pierre Bryce-Menard on track. He's the race leader as the number 21 Ford finally makes it stop. Alex Mortimer out of pit lane. Ackery with Sasha Burt in 17th place, about to unlap himself. But here's Bradley Ellis.
If it wasn't for the Corvette that hit me on the first lap, I think we could have been with them and sort of challenging for the lead. So apart from that, really, that's all sort of messed us up. I mean, I started to catch him back up.
Well, there's the car on track in second place. Ruffier behind is third. Von Gartzen behind that in fourth place. But here comes Ruffier's move. And you've got to wonder whether that 21 car's got a little bit of damage to the back end that could have slowed it down now. And that was nice and easy. Alex Mortimer didn't resist that at all, almost as if he knows that car has no answer to the speed of the Corvette along the straight there. Can't see any damage, but he's got his teammate now coming in behind him. That's Jürgen von Gartzen in the number 19 car. But we have out in front Ruffier in second place now. Von Gartzen behind. Will he go past his teammates? There's no reason why he shouldn't. They're not under threat at the moment, and he is looking faster. The body language of the 21 car a little bit slower than the yellow striped car behind. And here comes Von Gartzen's move up the inside, and once again no resistance from the 21 car. Mortimer obviously dealing with a problem. There's a problem for the number 5 Ferrari. Balbiani recovering after this little spin, looped it all by himself. And this is very, very close indeed. Julian Rodriguez challenging Yizi Skula, and goes through, and the Corvette looking a bit loose, and the tyres perhaps have seen their best hour on this racetrack, and that was all over the shop at the back end there, made it look easy. But here we are, trailing smoke. There's smoke coming out the back of the number 1 Corvette. A championship winning position, or a commanding lead in the championship, now evaporating. Their deadly rivals had a problem on lap 4 and are 2 laps down, will score no points, and neither will the Martini Callaway team. So the Fords looking strong, but it's the wrong cars. Ian Khan past the number 21 car. Now you can't help wondering whether he might not have been better staying behind it and holding off that Ferrari behind, because that is a battle for position. Dino Lunardi in the number 13 car is chasing after the final podium spot in this race, currently held by the 21 Ford GT. It did have Ian Khan riding shotgun. It doesn't anymore. Matak challenging, of course, for the team championship as well as the drivers championship. And points make prizes. And really, Bradley Ellis and Alex Mortimer don't want to be snapped up here in the last few moments of this race by a Ferrari that suddenly found a turn of speed and is coming on strong. Only a couple of minutes remaining. Alex Mortimer holding off Dino Lunardi. But as we know, that Ford has got some kind of a problem. It was going much quicker than this. It's been tapped up the boot, and it's not quite as sharp as it should be. Lunardi, and again, this is a regular Viper driver. Dino Lunardi normally shares one of the Torre Motorsport Vipers with Gilles Vanelay. Now in this Ferrari this weekend, and looking very hungry indeed. This is the moment. This is the aerodrome straight. This is the braking for turn 7. Mortimer's quite high. Lunardi drops down on the inside, gets track position, and that's the final podium place going to Ferrari. This is your race leader, though. Thomas Ackery and Pierre Bryce Menard have done a brilliant job. And there it is, second checkered flag of the year for Aston Martin. First for Hexis Racing, who came so close in Brno last time out. A best ever finish for Ferrari this season, and a strong team result from Matek, even if it wasn't the right car up front. But it's a win for Ackery and Pierre Bryce Menard.
It wasn't so easy because the car was very hard to drive. But I was first when I took the car, so maybe it was easier for me. But I'm so happy.
Well, that's a dramatic round 9 completed, but we still have round 10 ahead before we leave Nogaro, and that's coming up next. The grid's forming up for round 10 of the FIA GT3 Championship, decided, of course, by a second qualifying session, not by the result of race 1. Thomas Much gets a much better position from third place. Fred Macavici second, as Hexis are on a bit of a roll this weekend. But who's on pole position? James Ruffier, a now fixed Corvette. Apparently it was a differential problem yesterday. It's a 1 hour race. It's a mandatory pit stop between 23 and 37 minutes. They have to spend at least 70 seconds in pit lane or be penalised. The formation lap is underway. Here's our camera car. This is Julian Rodriguez, the faster of the two Rodriguez, although qualified 1 place down, P9 rather than P8 yesterday. And we are putting the hammer down, and we're 3 wide heading into turn 1. It's a short front straight. Who's got the lead? I think that was Thomas Much. I think there was a blue Ford GT as we go on board in the number 11 Ferrari of Jonathan Sickert. Yes, it is. Thomas Much, what a great start. He's got dust clouds in the background, Ferrari on the infield, and the number 21 Ford GT. Dropped a couple of places and fallen back as far as Sickert towards the end of the grid. But everyone else through, and everyone who was off is continuing. And Thomas Much leads it from Macavici, and Ruffier's gone down to third place. Couldn't have gone better than that for the Ford GTs. Macavici's thinking about a pass, but he's not going to make it from there. We're riding with that number 9 Aston Martin. There it is. And behind that is Pierre Bryce Menard, winner yesterday. So the Hexis team very much coming to the fore here this weekend. Much, Macavici, Ruffier and Sasha Burt in the second of the Martini Callaway Corvettes, holding 4th place at the moment. Then it's Von Gartzen, and the first sighting of a Porsche really this weekend. This season does seem to have favoured the big Americans over the lighter Europeans, and Ferrari haven't really had a strong showing. Porsche haven't really had a strong showing. Morgan there, just beginning to come to the fore again. Looked good earlier in the year, faltered a little bit, but coming on strong as the season goes by. On board with Sickert, and this is well down the grid order at the moment. This is right up the pointy bit, though, and coming under a lot of pressure now. Thomas Much from Rodriguez, and being pressured himself by James Ruffier from behind. But he's 2 important places clear of his championship rival, and they really need to take the extra points to Dubai. And in fact, that is true for both of them. Of course, a little bit of a lock-up there from the Corvette. Laurent Cazeneuve trailing smoke as he gets on the brakes hard. But look how close the top 3 are. James Ruffier might be 2-point scoring places behind Thomas Much, but he's not that far on track. Here comes Fred Macavici's moment of truth. He's so intent on the Ford in front, he hasn't noticed what's happening alongside him. And Ruffier's got track position and the place. There's nowhere to go for Macavici. He's trying it round the outside. He's got the inside line for the next corner. Ruffier has to give it up and think again. Well, that woke up Fred Macavici, and that will have woken up Sabatini in the 41 Viper, but he's clear of the car and the marshals are on the scene, so no problem there. And that's the number 7 Porsche. That's Shelley Beached. And this is going very slowly indeed. The safety car's coming out to clear the debris, but that was Sasha Burt cruising back towards pit lane. We get ready for the restart, and that's a terrible shame for Sasha Burt in particular, Martini Callaway as well. And we are clear to go racing. Green flags all around the circuit. Thomas Much hard on the loud pedal, but he's got Ruffier behind him now, and that's the number 16 Aston Martin there after a little bit of a spin. That's Gianmarino Zenere qualified right at the back, and off goes Chris Diamond quite hard into the tyre wall in the Jaguar as Pierre Bryce Mena comes in to hand over to Thomas Ackery from 10th place, the earliest possible stop. The Jaguar being towed away, and that's okay. That's Sickert handing over to Pascal Ballet. We often see little brake fires in the pit lane. Ruffier hounding Thomas Much around the circuit. In comes the 21 car. Bradley Ellis strapped in, waiting the 70 seconds, and that's all gone terribly wrong for the Lamborghini. Only just come out of the pits, and it's obviously had a bit of a slap. In comes Thomas Much, handing over to Ian Khan at the other end of the pit lane. The Callaway car is in as well. The last possible moment for a pit stop. Now, what's going to happen here is that the Callaway car will move first because its pit was nearer the entrance. They've got to sit there and hold their patience. If they go too soon, they could incur a penalty.
We're supposed to be okay at the end of the race, but it's tactic. I didn't want to try to push too much. I don't know, we will see.
James Ruffier thinks that Arnaud Payrolls is faster than Ian Khan in the cars, and that's what we're seeing now. Look at that. Ian Khan staying high, doesn't resist at all. Now, we've seen that before when the 21 Ford was limping in the previous race. We saw it stay high and put up no resistance to being passed there. And Ian Khan gave that on a plate to Arnaud Payrolls then. And it's tempting to wonder if Ian Khan's got a problem. Well, these two have. 38 is Martin Matska, and that was Zenere again in the Aston Martin. They've obviously had a little touch. Richie in the Ferrari trying to pass 37. That was for position. It's Ellis, Wojciech and Richie, and this is the sin bin. This is what happens if you go out too soon. A damaging penalty takes that car from 4th place. And this is Morgan challenging for 3rd place. Gaël Lesoudier attacking Jean-Claude Lanier and finding his way past. Lanier staying high and giving track position to the Morgan. And the Morgan, the lightest car in this championship by quite a margin. A little bit handier in the corners perhaps, but certainly it can brake a little bit later and turn a little bit sharper. And it looks as though Lanier could have more trouble on his hands because he's got a boot full behind him of Ford GT. Let's see what's going to happen there. And that's stopping. Ian Khan is stopping. Thought he had a problem. Now it's definite. Lanier is about to be snapped up by Luca Piri on the inside. Brakes and turns it in, and round he goes. Well, championship drama indeed for the Matek Fords. Ian Khan and Thomas Much again sidelined. And this, and that is Rodriguez recovering after a grassy moment. This is exactly what Ian Khan said. If we don't score well, we've got a lot to do in Dubai. At the moment, they're going to have a great deal to do in Dubai. And the Fords are still in the thick of it, aren't they? It's all about the Ford GTs this weekend. And, well, almost Claudio Ricci going for a little spin, trying to follow Bradley Ellis past Jean-Claude Lanier there. And he was on a bit of track that didn't really exist and then slid wide. Bits of Ferrari all over the place. And he recovers and keeps going. Oh, and onto the grass goes Luca Piri. Will Bradley Ellis snap him up, or will he let him live again? The Porsche in front, we're talking about an actual race for position there. That's Jaromir Jirik looking like Porsche's best finish. Oh, and Piri's on the grass. Luca Piri touches Jaromir Jirik. He ploughs wide. They both plough wide. Lanier goes through. And that was just a little bit unfortunate for Piri, and even more unfortunate for Jaromir Jirik. Bradley Ellis has gone through, and it's checker flag time for Arnaud Payrolles. A well-earned flag for Callaway Corvette, and a vital one as well. What's important about this leaderboard, Ian Khan and Thomas Butch aren't on it, while at the very top, James Ruffier and Arnaud Payrolles.
I had to overtake Jan. I success in that in the beginning of my relay, and after that I had to get the car on the track. I saw that time was okay. The car was wonderful. It was our day. We were waiting a long time for that.
From 2 points behind, the Corvette duo go 8 points clear, with the Aston Martin pair of Ackery and Bryce Menner third, sharing that place with Bradley Ellis. Second in the race will feel like a championship victory for Morgan, the French-run team celebrating a best-ever result. So, after a dramatic weekend here in France, we go to another championship shootout in the December sunshine. Our last 2 races, once again, are in Dubai, and that's in 5 weeks from now.